So there is an app that has been developed for that. We call the taxpayer portal. You can have it on your Android phone or iPhone. You can also have it on the GRA website. So what you do is simple. When you go to this taxpayer portal, you first of all need to sign up, just indicating that you are the right person. So you'll be required to indicate your name or your details. Then you provide a number, a telephone number, and then a username, and then you create your own password.
Okay.
Now, having signed up, you can log in at any time and file your return.
Okay.
So for the purpose of filing return, once you go to the taxpayer portal, all you need to do is to just click file a return. Now, when you click file a return, it will require you to indicate the type of person, whether you are an individual, you are a partnership, or you are a company. So if you are an individual, once you indicate an individual, there will be a form that will be displayed, and that form will require you to fill in certain detailed information about yourself, your business, or the income that you have earned. Once that is done, at the end, when the form is completed, it will require you to review just to make sure that there are no errors. Then when you indicate that you are certified, it will ask you to submit.
Okay.
Once you submit, the system automatically, based on the information you are provided, tells you whether you have a tax to pay or you have overpaid. And if you have a tax to pay, it will ask you if you want to go ahead and pay. Then you then proceed to the Ghana.gov platform, which is the system that we use in collecting taxes or for the payment of taxes. Then you can pay either using Momo, you can pay using bank transfer. What we don't do now is that we don't accept physical cash or checks for payment, but you can pay that through online.
Now, in case you have, maybe you've overpaid, then what does the system do for you then?
So if you overpay, the system will indicate that you have a credit. Then in that case, you'll be required to apply for a refund.
Right.
And I want to use this opportunity to encourage taxpayers that it is possible actually to get a refund from the Ghana Revenue Authority.
Really?
Yes, but the law, an amount of 6% of the total revenue that we collect is being set aside to give back as refund to people who have overpaid their taxes. And a lot of taxpayers are actually enjoying this because it's your right. Once you overpay, it is our responsibility to refund it to you. So if you apply that I want my money, then it can either be paid into your bank account, or if you have any future tax pending that you probably want us to do, then you can request the Commissioner General that, okay, set up this overpayment that I have against the taxes that I owe you or taxes that I intend to owe you. Other than that, you can have a money credited to your bank account.
For some people, they are still used to the analog ways of things. They would rather like to come in and then fill the paperwork or whatever it is. Do you give abilities for people to be able to file their tax returns manually, perhaps?
Now, we don't accept manual returns. All returns must be filed online. If you have any challenge, you can just walk to any GRA office and you'll be helped to file electronically.
Oh, wonderful. Now, can all persons file their personal income returning using the system in itself?
That's exactly what we expect every person to do. You are expected to file online using the portal. So you go on, just as Martin said, then you register, then you go ahead and file. If you have challenges, there's then that you come, when you come to the office with even a manual return, we'll only have to help you to file the return online.
I like that. Now, for some people, they fail to file their returns at the specific time they're supposed to. So what happens when they fail to file it at the time they were designated to file it?
Okay, so there are penalties for failing to file. It's actually an offense. For failing to file, there's an instant penalty of 500 Ghana cedis to be paid. And then for each day that the default continues, you'll be made to pay 10 Ghana cedis. It also denies you of certain benefits, like Emilia indicated. If you want a tax clearance to transact a business and you have not filed, the system will not allow you to have the tax clearance.
Now, for some people, they may not be sure of the calendar in which they're supposed to file their tax returns every month or every quarter or something of that sort. So when are they supposed to file their tax returns? Or when it's stipulated for you to file your tax returns?
Okay, it depends on the type of tax returns. We have monthly tax returns, and then we have some that are ad hoc, and there are some that are annual. So for the monthly tax returns, for example, if you take pay as you earn, where the employer is required to deduct tax from the salaries or the earnings of employees, then withholding taxes from goods and services, the law requires that not later than 15th of the month following, the month to which the deduction is made, you are supposed to file a return and pay. Now, when it comes to value-added taxes and other indirect taxes, such as National Health Insurance, the COVID levy, Ghana Education Trust Fund, the law requires that you file the returns not later than the last working day of the month following to which the returns release. Same for communication service tax. But when it comes to income taxes, income taxes are paid on an annual basis. Now we have two types of returns. The taxes are normally paid in advance for businesses. So at the beginning of the year, not later than the first quarter, every business is supposed to file what we call statement of estimated tax payable. What previously were called self-assessment. You indicate the anticipated income and how much tax you will be paying based on your own estimate and what you know about your business. Then you'll be required to pay that on a quarterly basis.
But what if I reduce the amount I'm expected? Maybe I think I may earn 100,000, but I write on paper that I'm earning 50,000.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the law says that the difference between what you have declared and what should have been declared shouldn't be more than 10%, because it's an estimate. We don't expect it to be exact, but at least the difference shouldn't be more than 10%. If it is more than 10%, then you'll be liable to pay interest on the amount unpaid. But the good thing about it is that you are allowed to revise it before the end of the year. Maybe at the beginning of the year, you are not so certain about how business activities will pick. So you made an estimate. But in the course of the year, you realize that the business is doing well. You can always go back and revise and upwards. On the other hand, if you made an assessment at the beginning of the year, and then later you notice that business is not as good as you anticipated, you can still go back and then revise it before the end of the year. So that is before the end of the year. Now, after the end of the year, you have within 4 months to now file your actual return, because this was an estimate, but you now know what has actually taken place. You now file your actual return based on what has happened, and then that is where you are supposed to do it not later than 4 months. That's why it is done not later than April. Okay. Now, when you file that return, that will not give us the correct tax that you should have paid. That will now compare that with the taxes that you paid quarterly.
Right.
And that is what will rather give you an overpayment or underpayment. If it is underpayment, then you will have to pay the difference. If it is overpayment, that is why GRA now will have to refund. So you make a request that I had made an estimate to pay maybe 100,000. But at the end of the day, based on what I have done, based on my account and the return that I have filed, my actual tax would have been 80,000. It means that you have overpaid by 20,000.
Right.
You can apply to GRA that please refund these 20,000 that I've overpaid, and that will be given to you.
Amazing, amazing. Now, sometimes the end of the month falls on either a weekend, falls on a holiday, or something of that sort, especially when you're doing, as she's rightly said, maybe the COVID, those statutory taxes that you need to pay at the end of every month or the last day of every month. Now, is it okay for me to now pay it on the next working day in case it falls on a holiday or a weekend?
No, it is wrong for you to pay on the next working day.
Oh, really?
You are expected to pay before the holiday or the weekend. So, for example, if a Friday is the 30th or it's on the 13th, then it's expected that you pay on the 13th. You can't wait till the 16th or 15th to pay. But we are lucky because of the online filing and payments, you can still make those payments before the end of the period online. Electronically, you can pay, you can file before the last working day.
Interesting. Now let's come straight to property tax and ask, because it's been a big conversation online as well with the people that perhaps that is a good revenue stream that's sometimes seems as if it's not entirely tapped into, or there's not enough strict enforcement or collection of it. Now, what is the collaboration ongoing now with the MMDA in the collection of property rates and taxes?
Yeah, thank you very much. So As part of the mandate of the Ghana Revenue Authority, we are supposed to be advising the district assemblies on the assessment and collection of property tax.
Right.
So we decided to have this collaboration with them. So what we have done is that the Ghana Revenue Authority, in conjunction with the Ministry of Rural Development, Decentralization and Rural Development, and the Land Valuation Board, have set up a data platform. What is there is that all properties across the country have been identified, and the values have been placed
on them,
on some of these properties. So what is there is that there is an app that has been developed, myassembly.gov.gh. Now, when you go to this myassembly.gov.gh, you can identify your property. Then you will indicate that this is my property. It's a very simple process. You just have to sign up to this property, and it is so simple in the sense that it doesn't really actually require a password. What you do is to put in your phone number, and anytime you go to log in, once you indicate your phone number, you receive a one-time PIN, which you can indicate. It opens up this, you can go and view your property. You can add property, so as many properties as you have, you can add it. When that is done, you can have access to your electronic bill, which tells you the amount of property tax you are supposed to pay, and then you can then make the payment. The payments are done online. We don't accept cash, and you are not supposed to pay the money to anybody. The good thing is that you can either pay all, or you can even pay by installment, depending on your ability. But at least there is a time period within which you are supposed to pay this property rate.
Mrs. Amelia, is there any sanction for people that do not pay property rates?
The law says that you'll be prosecuted. And when you are prosecuted, you know, the sanctions can vary. You can even be imprisoned.
Oh, wow.
So there's the need that we all learn to pay our property rate and at the right time.
Now, how will the assemblies benefit from this new system?
There's been a lot of efficiency achieved with digitization by GRA, and that is exactly what we are taking into the collection of property rates.
Of course.
Then it means that naturally there will be increase in revenue. With the new app, data has been collected, rates have been defined, so all property within a particular locality is now known. And when the taxes are collected, a percentage goes to the assemblies. Naturally, it means increase in revenue. And the human factor is also taken out. All income is accounted for in real time. And definitely with that, development will come into the country.
Now, final question before we wrap up quickly. In case someone has gone on to myassembly.gov.gh, goes to log in, gets all the details, but thinks that their value or their bill is a little too high. Maybe they bought a specific amount and they think that it's been valued higher than they assume it will. How do they go about rectifying it?
Yeah, so you can lodge a complaint with the assembly, and then it will be worked on. And there's a practical example. I met a friend, we were traveling together, and then she told me that in the past they have been paying 350. But when this system came and they checked the bill, it was 4,000.
Hey!
Yeah, so that tells you what has actually been happening.
Yeah.
That the person has been paying 350, but the actual assessment would have actually been 4,000. Wow. But they had concern about it in that they are claiming that the roads to the area
and everything else inclusive is not enough for the 4,000 price.
That they have done it themselves.
Oh, wow.
So having committed money to do themselves, they think that it will not be fair for the assembly to still ask them to pay. So because of that, the whole community had come together to appeal to the assembly that, yes, we want to pay property tax.
But we've also contributed to the development.
So if you can look at the value. And I think this is a very positive development that we can have that engagement and then we'll do. But I mean, from just this single example, that tells you what the potential is. That if someone was paying 3,000, I mean 350, and now he has to pay about 4,000. There's been
an interesting valuation
over 10 times. So that means that it is really efficient, and no property will be left.
Finally, okay. Thank you so much for that. Time flies when you're having fun and getting education. But final words from you both on why people should be more susceptible to paying their taxes.
It is important that we pay our taxes. It is only taxes that helps us develop. And especially now, there's the need more by all of us to get involved. More so, our offices are open. You can always come to the office. Where you have a challenge, just walk in. We are also setting up our clinics in designated places. When you go on our website, you can identify places which are closer to you. Come to our office and we are there to help. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mrs. Emilia Assam Taufa, she's Assistant Commissioner, Taxpayers Service Center in Wager. And thank you so much for coming as well. Dr. Martin Yamborigia, Assistant Commissioner, Large Taxpayer Office. We spoke about taxation. It is your civic right and your civic responsibility to pay your taxes and help Mother Ghana. And I hope you do that.